Man, to get that mask off. Whew. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. Get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. Oh, hold on a minute. Okay. Perfect. All right, I'm going to try something because on the virtual, they're seeing the note side. Can I duplicate it? What happens if I do that? I just don't have my notes. I really want my notes. Yeah, I really want my notes. Go back. Okay. Sorry, guys. I may not be able to make it without you seeing my notes virtually. Here. Okay. All right. You guys can all see it? Okay. I thought somebody said no. Oh, you know. Okay. Well, hi. I feel like I have only been up here in the beginning and I've been walking around and I haven't stumbled yet, so that's a plus for me. All right. So today we're going to finish up the day talking about filing fees, basically charging, collecting. We're going to talk about some accounting issues. You know, the new ledge stuff is fun, but we really like the accounting stuff over here. So, okay. Some of this you've seen before. Some of it's kind of new. Okay, so basically I wanted to go over some of the primary duties of your office. Okay, so you record the instruments that are submitted. Obviously this makes sense because what does the recorder do but record, right? So you enter each of those, each instrument into the entry book and you properly index this. This indexing helps locate that at a later point in time. You make all recorded documents available to the Republic. Should I turn around? I apologize to the public. Maybe it is the Republic. So recorded documents are public records. So, when you make those available, it's just naturally part of it. You obviously supply copies of any instrument or certify that record. And you charge fees for both recording and retrieving the documents. Charging fees is, I got to move this thing out of my way. Okay. Sorry. Charging fees is based on the statute. So for both sides, the recording and the retrieving of those documents. All right. So most fees charged are located in 362710. That's probably the one you're most familiar with if you've looked at the statute. We have put together a fee schedule that kind of summarizes all of that. It is on our website. If you go to the recorder's page under resources, there is a link. I will tell you it's titled 2017 fees. Those haven't been updated. There hasn't been a change in the fees, so it hasn't needed to be updated. It is currently being updated because, as many of you will remember at the last virtual meeting, we had a whole conversation on UCC fees, right? All right, so we did some working around and we sent out a question to the Attorney General who sent us back a position. And so now that's going to fall under this same statute, the 362710. So we are going to change the fee schedule to include that wording that it is your UCC fees. So yay. Okay. I don't even know how much time we have. All right. So like I said, we are currently working on getting that updated. We do have a draft of it. We just don't have it put up on the website yet, but we will soon, I promise. The link here is on the slide. Obviously, you can't hit the link, but that is the link for it. All right, so you guys also deal with bulk copies, which are defined in 36.2.7.10.1. You know, bulk copies is just a cluster or a grouping of copies of recorded documents or their indices for finding, retrieving, and reviewing recorded documents. The statute outlines the charge associated with the bulk copies, and these fees are included on the fee schedule that we are updating. So it's 10 cents per page, or if you have an ordinance, you can go up to 20 cents. All right. Indiana Code 36.2.7.5-6. I feel like that's all we've said as statutes, probably the past hour. So bear with me. This is the county identification security protection fee. This is where you can charge $2 for, you know, redacting information and things like that. And then we have 514.3.8, which is the enhanced access fee. So if your county has a process of enhanced access, then a fund should have been created. That was called the Enhanced Access Fund. We like getting creative with our fund names. The fees being charged are for the contractual access. Okay, so types of payments that you can receive. This is all in statute, again, 36.1.8.11. These are the different types of payments that can be received as long as it's authorized by the fiscal body. So in this case would be your county council. So you can take cash, check, bank draft, money order, credit cards, electronic fund transfers, things like that. You can also, if you are taking like a electronic payment and you get a charge on that, 36.1.8.11D allows you to collect a fee equal to the amount charged the county for those payment transactions. All good stuff to know. Okay, so as we talk about payments, I do want to mention briefly, we're not going to be talking about accounts receivable because, I mean, this has been said 1,000 times, but the statute says that you shall collect. Okay, we're not billing. You shall collect it at the time. So when we talk about other payments, we do realize that you guys do, some of you do escrow accounts. So you're taking, you know, somebody comes in, gives you some money, you're holding that, and then as they come in and use your services, you're taking money from that. Make sure that if you're receiving those payments in advance, you are keeping a subsidiary ledger. You should be able to identify all that money that you're holding, who it belongs to, when they haven't used it yet, okay? So there's also the overpayments, you know, payments that are received by mail or whatever, that are, you can retain a $3 administration fee for that. Anything in excess shall be refunded. Okay. Maybe like raise the hands. It's the only way I can see through the columns. Yes. Sorry.
I have a big
Sorry,
mouth.
ask it again.
Your PowerPoint says that we shall refund it.
Yeah.
Actually, we don't have to refund it unless they request a refund.
Right. Yes.
I'm still walking.
Oh, okay. I won't go any further.
So I had someone request their money out of a prepaid account. So I sent them a check. They've never cashed it, like for 2-3 years now. How do I get that off my books so that I can like balance? I mean, I keep carrying it as an outstanding check
because it's an outstanding check.
You know, it's over 2 years now. I'd like to kind of get rid of that.
I would contact them, explain to them the situation, then you could receipt that, check back in. If it's over 2 years, it's no good
Well,
anymore.
They went out of business. I mean, that was like, I think he moved state, whatever. I mean, I've tried to contact him.
So there's no company at all anymore.
Right. He just
Well,
didn't catch.
I mean, I guess if you can't find it and they're not going to claim it, I guess you can put it in general fund.
So how do I get it? I guess I'm still confused.
You would
How
have
do
to
I-
do it with your report of collections. So when you go to submit your money to the county, you would then include it in that.
So I just bring it back onto my book?
Bring it back on your book and then you would send it over when you turn over all your fees and stuff down to the auditor and the treasurer, you just include it on that and then just go in general fund.
Miscellaneous revenue? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, I saw a chat.
Yeah, this is Anita. Where do you put the overage, the money? Like if you get, so if you get $5, you can do $3 for your overage fund and $2 to the general? Well, yeah, the overage does go to general. You just put the whole thing in overage.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Wow.
I'm coming, I'm coming.
Hold on. Get the microphone, please.
What we were told by our local state board of accounts is if you had money that you couldn't find to refund, we were supposed to turn it over to Indiana unclaimed.
You can, but if it's a company that's no longer in
Yeah.
business, there's nobody there.
Because we had several and we were carrying it for years and years too. And they said, you got to get this off, give it
Right.
to Indiana unclaimed.
Right, just document that you've tried, that you've reached out, you've tried to find them, you can't find them, they've either not been in business when you put that money in the general fund. We're not going to take audit exception. But if you do find them and you can send it to Indiana unclaimed, that's perfectly fine too. Okay. I heard
Unclaimed would be preferable, but if you can't find it,
if you can't find them or you don't know the
either or, it's a first, second.
first, second, there you go. Okay, any other questions? Okay. Feel like I gotta hurry. Okay. All right, so collecting and receipting. So employees handling collections should be properly bonded. These are for employees who collect over $5,000 a year. Okay, so sorry. All right, so collections are received in many different ways. People come in person, sometimes they do it online, sometimes they do it by mail, but a receipt should be issued and recorded at the time of the transaction. So if somebody comes in, you record the receipt then. If it's mail, as soon as you open it, you need to be recording that as a receipt. A receipt needs to be issued on all collections, okay? And you really need to be using a prescribed or approved receipt, okay? So I did kind of want to, I'm going to do this very, very quickly, hopefully. Scroll down here a little bit. All right, so when we talk about prescribed or approved, the Indiana State Board of Accounts prescribes the forms you use. We prescribe the accounting process, okay? If you want to use a exact replica of that form, you can go ahead and do that. You don't need an approval if it's an exact replica. If you're using something that is not the prescribed form, there needs to be an approval, okay? This is done at the field, so when the field comes in to do the audit. The steps for this are in chapter 1 of, well, any of the manuals, any of the county manuals, it's chapter 1. But it's something that you start putting it in place, okay? You got this form, you're putting it in place, you're starting to use it. We need to be able to audit it to see if it does do the function of what the prescribed form did. So we're looking for that. You want to keep a log of when you started using it, any changes that have been made, things like that. And then when they come in, like I said, to do the audit, they're going to review that form, okay? And then if all's good, they'll give you the green light to go, okay? Just because we've had a lot of questions on that one. And then proper internal controls obviously need to be in place. You'll hear us say that all the time. One of the best internal controls to have is separate drawers. So if you've got 2 people who take in money, they really each need to have their own drawer. Otherwise, you can't track when it ends up being short. You can't track where that happened, okay? All right, so bank deposits. 51361 does require daily deposits for amounts in excess of $500. So if you're only holding $400 one night, you're not required to make that a bank deposit if you have a bank, I guess I need to say that. But once you hit the $500, it needs to be deposited. It needs to be deposited if you have a bank in a designated depository and in the same form in which it was received. So if it was received in cash, it should be deposited in cash. Did I go too far? Nope, I didn't. Okay. So posting to the ledger, as we talked about, the recorder's fee and cash book, this is your ledger. This is the prescribed form is called. It is Form 3. We do realize that you guys use different softwares to come in and to replace this prescribed form, but it should provide the same information. We do not approve softwares. Okay, so if you decide to switch softwares or you want to call us, we do not approve the softwares. It's a county decision on which software you use. We just need to know that what you're getting out of that software, the forms or the reports that are printed through there are work with the prescribed form, okay? And all transactions need to be included in your ledger. So that should include receipts, disbursements, and balances. I put here is a sample of the Form 3, which is the recorder's fee and cash book. We're going to go in this a little bit more detail Thursday. But when we talk about the accounting, we're always going to refer back to the prescribed form because you all have different systems. So we can't call one report from one system, and use that. We're going to always refer back to this. So you need to find what your system uses as the Form 3 and know that that's what we're talking about. Okay. So reconciling, again, obviously you guys do this all the time. You're going to do a daily task. You're going to count your drawer. You're going to balance with the applicable reports, and you're going to deposit with either the bank or the treasurer. Okay, so when you're balancing with your applicable reports, you're going to look at your receipts that were collected, and you need to verify that those are agreed to the postings in your fee and cash book or your software report. And your software should have some kind of report of collections that should help you there. And then the drawer, again, would be reconciled to that. And then your deposit should be made accordingly. Obviously, we want collections to equal the receipts posted, and then that equal the deposit. When it all works out, it's bliss. Okay, so reconciling continued. This really is this statute's really for those of you that have a bank account. You are required to reconcile monthly, at least monthly, with your bank. Those that do not have a bank account, you are reconciling, hopefully, with your report of collections every time you're turning in your money to the auditor and the treasurer. All right, I love this little box thing. I think it's great. Maybe it's a nerdy accountant thing. I don't know. So when we talk about reconciling, a lot of times we'll hear people say, well, my bank statement says I have this amount. And we're like, well, that's not reconciling. Remember, your bank statement is your bank's record. It's what your bank says, how much money they have, that's yours. It's not your record, it's their record. You have your own record. The whole reconcilement is to reconcile what you say you have against what they say you have. Okay, that's what we're looking for. So when you are reconciling, you're identifying any differences. You identify them, you're reconciled. The only time we'd say you're not reconciled is if you have an unidentified variance. You've got $500 and you have no idea why you're off that. Okay, but you got $500 because maybe you have a deposit that hasn't cleared or hasn't hit the bank yet. Then you've identified it and you're reconciled. I don't like my touchpad. All right. So report of collections. So if you don't have a bank, you're probably using one of these daily and you're turning it in. But if you do have a bank, you are turning it over monthly. So you are required to file the report of collections with the county auditor by the 10th of the next month, the prior month, not prior month, that's right. So each fund that's to be credited should be designated and subtotaled on your report of collections. And then you're going to follow proper receipting procedures that are outlined in statute that we will not be going over here ever. Those who have been around a while know exactly what we're talking about. But I have 12 minutes. I don't think we have time. Okay, so the report of collections, I do want to say this, this is a prescribed form as well. It is used to transfer the cash, the custody of the cash to the county records. Okay, that's what the whole purpose of that report is. Okay. We got this question from a couple different recorders and a couple other offices, and I thought it was something interesting. We had talked back a couple slides ago about having a separate drawer for people who are taking in money. So I had a recorder call and say, you know, we have only had one drawer in our office, and we've got, I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 people. So she was trying to figure out how to do separate drawers. And she says, I've got this cash change fund, and it was very small. It was like $50 or something. And she's like, I don't know that that's going to go for each one of my drawers, which probably not. You probably need more cash change. So I wanted to put this on here that even if you have a cash change already started, you can do proper procedures, go back and ask for more cash change if you need more to make up additional drawers. Okay, you just need to take a look at what you're carrying at your cash change currently, what you think your needs are, make sure that it's reasonable. Okay, but I thought it was kind of a, I don't know, it was kind of a couple questions I got at the beginning of this year from quite a few people, actually, not just recorders. All right. So I'm just curious, how many of you guys are familiar with the Indiana Code 511-127? Ooh, I got one. Aha. Okay, so in statute 511-127, this is where you are required to report erroneous and irregular material variances, losses, shortages, or thefts of a political subdivision funds or property. I have put the form down here on our website where you can go. A lot of times we think about this and we think, well, I don't have any money missing, or nobody, you know, there's not been a theft or anything like that. But, and I don't know that I've had any recorders. I know clerk's office for sure. Somebody gets a hold of your checking account number and they start writing checks and they're clearing your bank. You know, you need to get in touch with your banks to know how much time you have to get that money back. Some are 60 days, some are 30 days. You need to stay on it, because if you exceed that the amount of time that you have to claim that money, you may be out that money. They do not have to give it back. Okay, so if something like that happens and the county cannot recoup it, we need to know. Okay, so this is where you would submit this form and say, hey, this happened. Okay, it's just something that we need to take into consideration. It has happened a lot. Some people use Positive Pay. I don't know, does anybody in here use Positive Pay? So if you do have Positive Pay, or you look for doing that, Positive Pay is where you give them a list of like your checks. And so they don't let anything outside of that list clear your bank. Okay. So if people do try and maybe they let it go or whatever, and you've given them that list, they will give you back your money. In that case, as long as Positive Pay is working, we don't need to know. Okay. You just document it for your records. You don't need to send that to us. But anytime money is gone and you can't recoup it, we need to know. Okay. So outside of you have an employee who takes $10 to go to lunch, you might want to tell us that too. Okay. Just FYI. That is a must. Okay. I'm not doing too bad. I went through this way faster than I had planned. Obviously, you guys should know our contact information by now, our email, our phone number, that kind of stuff. Some of this stuff we are going to go back over tomorrow when we start talking about Gateway. I keep saying tomorrow. It is Thursday. Thursday, when we start talking about Gateway reporting, I just didn't want to talk twice about subjects. So we'll kind of go in more detail with that then. Wow, I hate the virtual. I'm sorry, virtual people, that you're looking right at my nose. I apologize. So before we let you go, I have a couple housekeeping things, unless there are any questions that have come in. Okay. All right. So if you are virtual and you do not have a link for Thursday because it is a different link than today, please email us. We'll get you that current link. Okay. Going forward. Again, this is all being recorded, so we will get it up on our website when it's over, but we do break it up in chunks. So if you remember the virtual ones, we broke it up by agenda item, so you wouldn't have to go back and watch 4 hours just to get the 5 minutes you were looking for. Okay, so we are going to be doing that. We will be back on Thursday, trying this whole hybrid approach again. Hopefully it's going well for those who are watching virtually along with all of you. But if you guys have any other questions between here, you're asking a question and you're in the back of the room. Let's see, what is your question? Is it a question? Hold on one sec. Okay, county received a second. One check for total fees. The recorder discovers after receiving that one document is for a different county. Are we under obligation to refund that? Only if the submitter requests. Well, I would think you wouldn't want to keep it if it wasn't for your county. So I would think you would need to refund it. But I would think in that case, I'm assuming this all came in probably, through a mail or whatever, you would be able to keep like an administrative fee for it. It didn't say it was recorded. It said it got a stack of docs for recording. I'm like, wait a minute. It said county receives a stack for recording. I honestly don't know if you have to legally notify them or anything. I really don't know the answer to that question. I'd say attorney. Yeah. Okay. Is that it? Is that all the questions we have? Okay. Before we let you go today, Anita, I think, has some stuff for you. We do appreciate you guys all joining, listening to us. We look forward to seeing you on Thursday. Okay. And have fun this week. Okay.